let's turn our attention now to throwing that question to a couple of really fascinating people who are tracking all of this. Navdeep Suri has been the Indian ambassador to Australia, to the UAE. He's worked in the UK, in many other places. Also joining us now, Malvinder Kang, who's the chief spokesperson of the AAP in Punjab, and therefore, in a sense, keeping an eye on what is happening on the ground here in India. Let me start with you, Ambassador Suri. Look, it's a really interesting contrast. If you are to look at what's being said in certain quarters of Canada, Australia, or the UK, you would think that India is up in flames, at least that the Punjab is up in flames. It seems to be a totally different position on the ground out there. I mean, you're in Amritsar, I gather. What's the situation there in the city around you? Is there any turmoil, any resonance, any Khalistan movement taking place there?
Well, Vikram, with due respect, what you see in New York or in Canada or in London is a camera at a point, at a particular snippet of time, showing something happening which bears no relationship to the rest of the world living normally. I think it's the same thing that happens with demonstrations. You know, there's this capacity of visual images to magnify by bringing a small piece of the action into our living rooms, but us being completely unaware of the larger reality, which is normal and peaceful.
You know, Ambassador Suri, I was going to ask you that because, you know, sometimes you get the sense, if you were to look at the images that come out, you get the sense that the entire Sikh community, you know, across Canada, Australia, the UK, the USA, all of them are passionate supporters of Khalistan. Now, as you're saying, sometimes it's just the camera focusing on a small number of people who are actually out there. So you're saying, forget about speaking for the Sikhs in India. These protesters are not necessarily even speaking for the Sikhs in Canada or the USA.
Well, absolutely, Vikram. Having lived in multiple countries with large Sikh diasporas, I can tell you without an iota of doubt that the overwhelming majority of the Sikh community is as nationalist, as patriotic towards India as anyone else, and sometimes much more so. Many of my Sikh friends overseas tell me they are embarrassed by the activities of these guys, especially the most recent bout of hooliganism and violence, which is even contravening the laws of those countries themselves. So yes, I would strongly urge your viewers not to conflate the actions of a very small minority that you see on your screen with the larger majority, which is going about its own business and has nothing to do with any of this.
So, Ambassador Suri, who do you think is behind all of this? Now, if you're saying that the majority of the Sikhs are not actually supporting this, even in countries abroad, forget about in India. In India, of course, it's crystal clear. But even abroad, if you're saying that a majority of the community is not supporting the Khalistan movement or the protests, who's actually backing it? I mean, it's the government seems to be saying it's the ISI, and it probably could still be the ISI, but I would have thought the ISI would be rather busy with its own problem, and Pakistan's going bankrupt and imploding. Doesn't the ISI have other things to worry about than continuing to try and stir up trouble in India?
When you have a lot of problems at home, what better way than to distract attention somewhere else? But I look, 2 points, Vikram, and I make these seriously. One, when you see the coordinated manner in which these incidents erupted at different geographies around the world, whether the temples in Melbourne and Sydney, whether the honorary consulate in Brisbane, whether the actions in London and San Francisco and elsewhere, that degree of coordination comes when somebody who has been building these connections decides to wake up its sleeper cells, put some wheels into action. So at one level, I have no doubt that, as usual, ISI is fishing in troubled waters. It is doing all this. But at the same time, you know, I've interacted with enough members of the community over the years to know that there is a small section which has a genuine grievance over the fact that 1984 Delhi riots never came to a closure, about Operation Blue Star, about the violence that you had in Punjab, which was inflicted by both sides, the state and the terrorists. and claimed many an innocent person. So there is that lingering grievance, particularly the next generation, which has been born in that country, whether it's UK or Canada, and has never probably visited a Punjab.
Right, Ambassador, you make a good point. Sometimes I just want to go across to Malvinder Kang right now, who's the chief spokesperson there in Punjab. Mr. Kang, just trying to understand what is happening on the ground there in Punjab. We did hear the Jathedar at the Akal Takht, for example, saying that many of those who'd been arrested should be released, otherwise it could lead to more tension, it could lead to a further movement. What is your sense of the reaction all of this is getting on the ground in Punjab?
Vikram, for the first day of this whole episode, the intention of government was very clear. Whoever who is responsible for the anti-national activities, anti-Punjab activities, and want to create differences within the communities, law will take its own course. We will not tolerate. It's a very clear instructions by the Chief Minister of Punjab.
Mr. Kang, just wanted to ask you, the search for Amritpal Singh, the fact that the police haven't been able to arrest him yet, there's some talk, maybe he's gone to Nepal, he's gone here, he's gone there, all of those rumors have been circulating for a few days. Is this an embarrassment of some sort for the police, and are you feeling and hoping that you will be able to arrest him fairly soon?
I don't think it's authentic reports, but definitely जब तक वो पकड़ा नहीं जाता तो इसे very challenging for our defense forces. No doubt, it's a challenging situation, but we hope in near future he definitely will come.
So to get a sense of how this could play out, we've heard, as I was saying, the Jathedar of the Akal Takht saying you must release all the people who've been arrested, otherwise it could escalate. Is this something you're paying attention to, the possibility of an escalation even in Punjab?
With due respect, I always respond yesterday also. It's a matter of integrity of the country. So I requested to Jathedar Sahab, law will taking its own course. It's a rule of law. Already Chief Minister said that innocent will not included in definitely there are inquiry and investigation is very important for the whoever, maybe it's a reporter, a genuine person, maybe political person. So I only requested Jathedar, he will उनको राजनीति से थोड़ा दूरी ही रहना चाहिए.
Mr. Kang, we were just hearing Ambassador Suri saying that even inside Punjab, there's virtually no support for Khalistan anymore. What is your sense for that? How much support for this entire question of Khalistan is there now inside in Punjab? I mean, it's 2023. We thought all of this is over. Is that a fair assessment that there's next to no support for Khalistan inside Punjab?
पंजाब में तो कोई जगह नहीं है खालिस्तानियों के लिए. डेफिनेटली सम सेक्शन है जो आउट ऑफ कंट्री है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है उनके जो भी ग्रीवेंसेस हैं जो 84 को लेकर पंजाबी सूबा मूवमेंट को लेकर, मुझे लगता है इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को कहीं ना कहीं बात करनी चाहिए.
All right, Mr. Kang, last question to you. I mean, you are of course in charge there in Punjab. Do you think on the ground in Punjab all of this will be sorted out in a very peaceful manner?
विक्रम, पहली बात तो पंजाब में माहौल बहुत पीसफुल है, कहीं तरह की कोई टेंशन नहीं है. पंजाब से बाहर जाके आप देखोगे तो ऐसा लगता है वहां खालिस्तानी बन गया, लेकिन यहाँ ऐसी कोई बात नहीं. और पंजाब में कम्युनल जो विवाद देश में मुझे लगता है सबसे कम हुए हैं.
All right, Mr. Kang, thank you for joining us. I think we know whom you're referring to, so thank you so much for joining us with that perspective.